Okay, it looks like I can't pull up the verse. Okay, I'll just read it. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Yasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashta Prayesa Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Okay, so today we're reading from 10th canto, chapter 86, verse 48. Okay, I'll read the Sanskrit. Namostute dhyatma vidang paradmane anatmane swatma vivakta mrityaye. Sakarana karana lingam iyushe swamayaya samvrita ruda drishtaye. And the synonyms: Namaha, obeisances; Astu, may there be; Te, unto you; Adhyatma, the absolute truth; Vidam, for those who know; Paradmane, the supreme soul; Anatmane, to the conditioned jiva soul; Swa Atma, from yourself in the form of time; Vibhakta, who gives; Mrityave, death; Sakarana, sakarana, having a cause; akarana, having no cause; lingam, the forms, respectively, the material form of the universe, and also your original spiritual form; iyuse, who assume; swamayaya, by your own mystic potency; asamvrita, uncovered; rudha, and blocked; drishtaye, vision. And translation and purport: let me offer my obeisances unto you. You are realized as the supreme soul by those who know the absolute truth, whereas in your form of time, you impose death upon the forgetful souls. You appear both in your causeless spiritual form and in the created form of this universe, thus simultaneously uncovering the eyes of your devotees and obstructing the vision of the non-devotees. When the Lord appears before his devotees in his eternal spiritual form, their eyes become uncovered in the sense that all vestiges of illusion are dispelled and they drink in the beautiful vision of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. For the non-devotees, on the other hand, the Lord appears as material nature, his universal form, and in this way he covers their vision so that his spiritual, personal form remains invisible to them. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti gives another interpretation of this verse based on the alternative understanding of anatmane, a form of the word anatma. Various classes of men know the absolute truth in different ways. The devotees of the Lord who are in the reciprocal mood of neutral admiration, Shantaras, meditate on the Supreme as possessing a divine personal form, Atma, or Shivigraha, transcending all aspects of material illusion. The impersonal philosophers, Gyanis, conceive of him as formless, Anatma, and the envious demons see him in the form of death. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschate Adesha Tarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasani Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so I'll just read that one more time. Let me offer my obeisances unto you. You are realized as a supreme soul by those who know the absolute truth, whereas in your form of time you impose death upon the forgetful souls. You appear both in your causeless spiritual form and in the created form of this universe, thus simultaneously uncovering the eyes of your devotees and obstructing the vision of the non-devotees. This is such a beautiful verse. The first thing that I thought this verse reminded me of was in the Sri Shapanishad, verse 15. It talks about seeing, and it's also a beautiful mantra. Hiranmayena padrina satyasya pihitam mukha sattvam pushan apavrinu satya dharmaye drishtaye. O Lord, sustainer of all that lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee. And so this is asking to be able to see. And so going to the verse that we're reading today, starts off namostute, obeisances. May there be obeisances unto you. Adhyatma, the absolute truth. Vidam, for those who know. Para Atmane, the supreme soul. Anatmane, to the conditioned jiva soul. Sva Atma, from yourself in the form of time. So let me offer my obeisances unto you. You are realized as the supreme soul by those who know the absolute truth. So who is it that knows the absolute truth, and what is the absolute truth that is to be known? Whereas, and so as opposing that, it says, whereas in your form of time, you impose death upon the forgetful souls. So the ones who don't know have death imposed on them as in the form of time. And so this is very interesting. So forgetful souls, when we forget who and what we are, death is imposed upon us. And Prabhupada, one of my favorite things, I think I mention this every time I come here, because I only know one thing. So is Prabhupada saying, I've come to remind you of what you have forgotten. And what it was it that Prabhupada came to remind us of that we have forgotten? He came to remind us that there is no such thing as death, that we actually live forever. And that's a pretty big thing. So then it says you appear both in your causeless spiritual form. Okay, so a spiritual form that has no cause, and in the created form of this universe. This universe, we could see that we can say that everything that we see, everything that is created, all of Prakriti, the material universe has been created. We see a cause for everything. Everything has a cause. Whereas the spiritual form of the Lord has no cause. And so we can understand these two things from seeing the material, the what's created, right? Because we're able to take it in with our material eyes. Thus simultaneously uncovering the eyes of your devotees and obstructing the vision of the non-devotee. So simultaneously doing something while you're helping someone see, you're helping others not see. I mean, wow. How do we even understand that? And so this is putting two things up against, not against each other, but in contrast. So the devotees who have their eyes uncovered, and then the non-devotees who are obstructed. And so what is the difference between a non-devotee and a devotee, other than one can see and one cannot? But what does that actually mean? So in order to know what it is, we have to know what it's not. So what is a non-devotee? So someone who doesn't see. And what is it that non-devotees are not seeing? What's being obstructed? And what is it that once we remove the obstruction, having removed that, um, makes the individual go from non-devotee to devotee? Does that make sense? So you're not seeing something, you're non-devotee. When you see that thing that you're not seeing, remove the obstruction, then you become a devotee. And so what is that? What is it that we're actually meant to be seeing? So when something's obstructed, at least in the medical sense, it's usually not good. It means that there's something that's supposed to be somewhere or moving towards something, right? Like as in the flow of blood has been obstructed. So the flow of something has ceased, it's stopped, whether it's temporary or permanent. So in this case, the vision is blocked. And what is it that we're blocked from seeing? And according to this verse, it's the causeless spiritual form. So it's juxtaposing these two things, and we're meant to understand what it is, what they are, so we can understand our relationship to it. And so what makes the difference between the two? So if we look at this verse, you appear both, I'm just going to read it again. You appear both in your causeless spiritual form, so is able to be seen by someone, and in the created form of this universe, which is, sorry, that's seen. The created form is seen. The causeless spiritual form is not seen. Uncovering the eyes of your devotees and obstructing the vision of the non-devotees. What is it that makes what is the what makes the difference between whether we're seeing or not seeing? Is it an arbitrary thing that the Lord just picks randomly? It just depends. Oh, today's Tuesday, these people will see, these other individuals will not see. How does it work? And one thing that going back to that verse that I first read from the Sri Upanishad, "O my Lord, sustainer of all that lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotees." So what is it that's making the difference? And one can understand that in this case, it's being asked. We're asking, let me see. And so if we're asking, and that makes all the difference between whether we can see or not see, whether that vision is obstructed or not obstructed, that comes down to our free will. Because it's not being imposed on us. Someone, in this case, we're speaking about the Lord, the absolute truth, the supreme person. That supreme person is not going to just arbitrarily decide if we get to see today or not. It doesn't work that way. We have to want to see. So as an individual, I have to want to see, and at least in this particular case, that's what's being said. The devotees can see, the non-devotees can't see. And that happens because of our desires. And so is this a universal thing? At least here, um, perhaps there are scenarios where an obstruction is good. Maybe if you obstruct a river because you don't want it to flood something, so you cause an obstruction. Maybe that's a scenario where obstruction is good. So if there's a good consequence, yes. Can there be a scenario where obstruction is good? Perhaps. But in this case, if there's an undesired consequence, where in we're saying no, it's not about, you can't see. So that's an undesired consequence. Usually we want to see, right? There are very few things that we don't want to see. So then it becomes a universal thing that you may want to resolve the obstruction, because otherwise the consequence would be bad. And so we resolve the obstruction, and by consequence, we will see. And again, who doesn't want to see unless there's something not good to look at? But in this case, the supreme person, the beauty of the supreme person, this mysterious, eternally vast, all-containing person is being described in all his glory. And of course, we want to see that. We're hearing about this. We're showing up to hear and to understand what it is that we're meant to be able to see. What is it that we're remembering that is there and we've forgotten? So the other interesting thing about this is I just was thinking about this. Let me see if I can get this thought across. So that this absolute person is describing themselves in a way by presenting us. So if the Srimad Bhagavatam is the expansion of this supreme person of the absolute truth, it's one of the ways in which it manifests as the Bhagavatam, the person itself. And the sages are all telling us about this person. And that wisdom, that understanding, that realization comes from that same person, then in a very and also is the forest where the sages are sitting, then it follows that this person is finding one of the most creative, beautiful, fascinating ways to tell us about themselves. And why is this person doing that? So that we can remember. And what is it that we're trying to remember? We're remembering that that death does not have to be imposed upon us. That in one sense, yes, the body goes into decay and death, but the soul actually doesn't. So the sages have the realization to share with us, and by that sharing and that understanding, we come to see. We come to see this the spiritual form as opposed to this world of cause and effect. So we said how this world has a cause, the spiritual form does not have a cause. I have a cause, I come from that source. We all have a cause here, but we don't cause the absolute truth or the supreme person. It's the other way around. So basically, we're here in this world of death and decay. And we can see that death touches everything. I mean, as soon as we're born, we're on that process of decay. At least from the body's perspective, it's like when you buy a car, the moment you drive it home, it's already on his, uh, in that diminishing, decreasing life or value, you would say. So it can be so for the body. So as soon as something is created, at least in this material world, it immediately starts to die. And so in that sense, death is opposed upon us because we've forgotten. And while death is being opposed upon us, at least in from this perspective, we're still non-devotees. Because when we actually get to see, and we get to see that there is no death, like all the things that are mentioned in the Shastra and the scriptures in the Bhagavad Gita. When we see that there is no death, we actually stop dying. And as of now, I can't stop death. It's coming. So we can say that, yes, death is still being imposed upon me. And so, okay, that's very depressing. However, the moment that we realize that death is not going to be imposed upon me, that yes, this body will go, I'll have to get a new one. But we understand that we're not this body. And then at that moment, death is not imposed. And then we continue to live from that understanding, from that remembering. And then when the moment comes to give up the body, we might be in a more peaceful, accepting, understanding, clear-headed way that, okay, this body is leaving, but actually death is not touching me. And then I stay alive. So to forget is to die. And we don't want to die. It's so unnatural. It's really unnatural. It doesn't feel, it just, right? We suffer. I don't want to die. I think about it all the time. Because, it's good to understand that, yes, everything in this world is permanent. It's created, it has a cause. And time, Krishna in the form of time, is imposing death upon it. When I think of the people that I love leaving their bodies, I don't want that. We suffer. It's true. So we acknowledge that. So the good news is, okay, this is not a great situation, right? There's so many things we want to do in this world, so many ways that we can serve and keep giving and keep loving and keep being in relationship with the devotees and with our gurus and with all the wonderful things that this absolute person has to show us. So we don't want to go anywhere. And that's the point, that we don't have to. That if we stay conscious, if we stay awake, if we stay in that remembrance, then we don't have to go through that difficulty. So to not see is to forget, and to forget is to die. To see is to remember, and to remember is to live. And so then it becomes, what does it take to make this spiritual life? What does it take to make it to, what does it take to take spiritual life seriously enough that I remember and that I don't forget? Because that's what's at stake here. This is life or death, right? But I don't ever die. You don't ever die. And so this is, one can say, this is, how do we know this? Well, we hear it from those that know. And then we understand it, and we can understand it with our own consciousness, our own understanding, our own realization. It becomes self-evident. And so to live what does that mean? We try to, try to live from that place, try to share it with others. But what does it mean for me to know something? And then how do I live from that place? So to live a spiritual, philosophical life means trying to figure out uh, how to set my life up so I can find out what's true, um, which is what is being talked about here. And then what do I do about it? Because if I get it right, I stop dying. So from that perspective, um, we want to understand what it is that we're meant to remember. And so again, going back to what Prabhupada says, I'm here to remind you of what you've forgotten. I think he said it in the context, and if someone knows this quote, just remind me if I get it wrong. But he said, not coming to teach us anything, just coming to remind us. So then the idea is that the whole point is that we're supposed to do this, not supposed to, we're choosing the path of bhakti. But we're choosing to to try to get this understanding in a way that's loving, that's joyful, where we're connecting with each other, connecting with the Vaishnavas, reminding each other of all of these things daily. This is the practice. Um, how to relate to that absolute person, to that supreme person who is the source of absolutely everything. To know that we're in that person's home, basically. When you go to an Airbnb, nothing there belongs to you. It has another owner. None of it is mine. Um, and so in that sense, I'm here. This is like the supreme Airbnb. Nothing here belongs to me. Everything comes from that absolute person, from that supreme person. And so just like an Airbnb, I'm there, doesn't belong to me, but they've given me permission to take shelter in that place. And so we're here taking shelter, and endeavoring how to have a relationship that's based on from the starting point of love and the end point of love, how to have that relationship with that owner of the supreme Airbnb. Um, So the idea is also that we're meant to do this while we're, going to work, taking care of our families, trying to stay sane, trying to avoid all the, like falling pianos and, all the whatever happens to us in our day-to-day lives. And so that's the challenge. That's why we're here. We're here to come and talk about how we're meant to go on with these things. So how to have like critical, what is it? Critical reasoning, how to apply, how to understand, how to keep remembering. So I'll go back to that verse that I shared at the beginning. Oh my Lord, sustainer of all that lives, your real face is covered by your dazzling effulgence. Kindly remove that covering and exhibit yourself to your pure devotee. We have to want it. That's the point. I think that's beautiful because then I have my free will. Nothing's imposed upon me, unless I forget. If I want to remember, Krishna's going to help me remember we're here, we're talking about it. Um, and so our desires get satisfied. I want to remember, we'll remember. He tells us that in the Bhagavad Gita. I am seated in everyone's heart. From me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedantas. He's sharing the sharing of it. It's like hearing from the professor who wrote the book, and I am the knower of the Vedas. So we're so fortunate. Okay, so covering the eyes of the devotees, obstructing the vision of the non-devotees. So that's it. What is it on a day-to-day basis, on a practical level, that makes the difference between one who sees and one who doesn't see? What does that person look like? What do they act like? What do they do? What do they don't do? What do I do? I'm trying to figure out what to do, right? There's so many options and it gets so overwhelming, on any given day. It's like, oh my God, what am I supposed to be doing? And luckily we have some system. We have the practice of bhakti. That is the system. And all that's telling us is here's this created world. Here's how all of the things in it can remind you of your relationship with that absolute truth, that supreme being that is the cause of the created world and is beyond it, is not the created world. Um, that's just an aspect of it. So, any thoughts on this? Questions, comments, worries, concerns, corrections? I found this verse incredibly beautiful. I mean, even the Sanskrit. Who's that? Oh, Adi Purusha Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Oh,
It's so nice to see you. Wonderful class, an interesting subject, seeing Krishna and not seeing Krishna. And there's these instances where like Dhruva Maharaj is meditating and he's bathing and he's chanting and he's purifying himself. And then at one point, he sees Krishna. Krishna has been there all along, but he wasn't seeing him. So not only are there non-devotees who don't see and the devotees who see, but there are devotees who engage in the process and then Krishna reveals himself. And one of the features, we may see his form, we may hear his voice, the beauty of Krishna, but one of the things that we see when we see Krishna is the fact that Krishna loves us. It's so startling in this world where there really isn't a whole lot of love floating around. There's traces and things we could extrapolate and actually understand what love is. But when we become, Krishna reveals himself and we see that affection, just that glance. Even a dog can understand if you're afraid of him or if you're threatening him or if you're actually welcoming him and about to give him some, warm fuzzies, some petting or something like that. So like when we see how Krishna loves us, that's a real game changer. And you can't help but respond to that and reflect back, wanting to serve and love somebody who cares for you beyond anything you've ever experienced in this world. So seeing Krishna and seeing that Krishna loving us that's a that's a real game changer. Anyway, all glories to Prabhupada. I just pray to Prabhupada what to say. That's what we have to share. Well, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yeah, it's I really appreciate that point because it's so true. It's almost one of the hardest things to believe that we can be so loved for no reason other than we just are. That unconditional love. So a mother's love comes close. But even I don't know where I was reading some article about something. They were speaking about uh anyway, one of the things mentioned was about um pets. and how the grief for a pet can go so deep into a person, and they think that it might, one of the things is that it might be attributed to that unconditional love that you get from a pet, particularly a dog, and how that creates a different samskara in the mind to feel that unconditional love. So there's definitely something there. Um, yeah, it's and in this sense, so this verse is talking about the Maya ya. Let me see where it is. Maya ya, Swa Maya ya. So by that potency, um, by Maya, he's causing the remembrance and the forgetfulness. So it's not based on what you just said, Adipurusha Prabhu. The Maya's not out to get us, because there's love at the foundation of that relationship with the person whose energy Maya belongs to. And so it's not being used in a way to punish us or to harm us or to make us cry and go home. It's not that. It's just it's objective. It's just responding to to what we're presenting, to what we want to see, basically. But I'm speaking about more at the spiritual level, what we want to see and live and experience in this world. Because of course we're not in control of this. You know, again, that back to that Airbnb. This nothing's under my control. But from the perspective of the journey of the jiva of the soul, we're in relationship with that absolute truth, and it's not trying to hurt us. As a matter of fact, it's trying to say, hey, wake up, and sending us Prabhupada and sending us books that will explain these things. And so, and that's part of that's one of the places where we can exercise this love and affection in giving it reciprocity and also a receiving from someone like Prabhupada, who had so much love, so much compassion, so much care that he just wanted to go and share this with people. And again, go back to that point to remind us of what we've forgotten from no for no reason other than the care that he was giving to all of us based on following the instructions of his spiritual master. So, I mean, I find that fascinating and just so exciting for a Tuesday morning. Anyone else?
Adipurusha Prabhu, I love you for no reason. Just wanted to say that. Thank you, Lila Devi. Wonderful class. Love, death, perfect subject matters for a Tuesday morning. Min has their hand up.
Min, Hare Krishna.
Hi, Krishna, thank you so much for the class. What you just said, it exactly aligns what I was reading the other day in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where chapter on Maharaj Parikshit receiving the Kali Yuga, and Shaunaka Rishi is asking, well, why didn't he just kill Kali? Why did he just punish him? And we want to hear about that, but only it involves Krishna. If only if we could hear about Krishna. And the verse following that says that how the rishis invited Yamaraj, the control over death, to praise the Lord together. And Prabhupada in those purports speaks about how the Mayavadis and atheists would be scared of Yamaraj, but devotees know that he's also a devotee who loves God, so he's invited. So I thought it was just really amazing how for devotees who sees, like what you're saying, this topic of seeing has been such a huge topic for me since coming to Krishna consciousness, because in the beginning, I thought to see God, I thought I would see him with my physical eyeballs. And so for a long time, I just thought, how is that possible? I was seeking that, because I thought that's what it meant only. Um, but like you have spoken, we could see God in so many different ways. We could hear God, we could feel God. So that is all part of seeing. It goes back to this darkness being lit up by presence of God and moreover love of God. Um, so I really, yes, this is such a great topic, death and seeing and not seeing. And when Prabhupada, says, I came here to help you remember. So, now I'm realizing also as I hear that, a few devotees have told me, because I'm so thankful for all these devotees in my life who just appeared and like teaching me so much. They said all I can do for to repay the love of Krishna is really help somebody else um recover their own, the essence of who they are. So it's just such a beautiful process. So thank you so much.
Mm.
I'm sorry, I kind of rambled on there, but I got so excited about what you had to speak today.
Oh, Min, Hare Krishna, thank you so much. No, that certainly is not a ramble. That was that's beautiful. Yeah. Um, Amazing, right? That people have come to share these things with us. And yeah, this is incredible. Um, Thank you so much for sharing that. Anyone else? Jeffrey.
Hare Krishna, thank you for class and speaking on this topic. It's very interesting to me. Um, Adi Purusha tells a story sometimes about this person that he met who it's the Rambo story, if anybody remembers about the person they met on the street, and then they sort of had a conversation and realized that this person had kind of recognized the ultimate or the absolute as death, and that um, facilitating that realization, as Adi did in that scenario, um, brought that person maybe a step closer to understanding the absolute. And so my question is along those same lines: when the Lord obstructs the vision of the non-devotee or the devotee for that matter, um, is that not the Lord's purview and the Lord's grace?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating to think about because we don't know the processes, we don't know why or how these things are happening. And so what Min was just saying about, oh, I thought it was going to be with my eyeballs. Um, I love that because yeah, we're like try to see, even on our process of bhakti, we're like, whoa, what is everyone else seeing that I'm not seeing? What's going on, In so many ways, so many different scenarios. But that's the thing. So what Min was saying, and then being able to see it in the with our eyeballs. I mean, we actually can see one manifestation of God or of Krishna, of the absolute truth with our eyeballs, just by understanding that everything that's created is that energy. And so by showing the created world, the material world, he's saying, look, here I am. If you're a devotee, you can see that. You're like, wow, there it is. And if you're not, he's showing the material world and saying, I'm here, I'm not, because that's what you can't see him beyond that. And so it's fascinating. So yeah, is it his mercy and his purview? Absolutely. It's both. Um, because also and purview because uh, just like any other person, they will show you what they want to show you. You can't force intimacy. You can't force, me telling you all of my, very internal private things unless we've created that relationship of friendship and trust. And then I will want to share those things with you. So that's how we'll relate to each other based on trust and having built a rapport. And so, yeah, he shows us what he wants to show us and when he wants to show us. And that's exactly what the Bhagavad Gita is telling us. I am, from me comes remembrance and forgetfulness. You'll see when you want to see, and you'll see what I want you to see because it's a person like us. We're normal people. We relate to each other in normal ways, and if we have a deeper friendship, we have more to share. And it's like that. If there's a deeper friendship, or and a deeper desire to want to know more, right? If someone's curious about you and they ask you questions and they want to know about your life, and we're comfortable with that person, yeah, we want to share and we want to tell them more. And then we get really excited. Oh, let me tell you about this. And, because they're receiving it well. It's a regular relationship that is so normal, so natural that it's hard to conceptualize. It's so personal that we might just miss it, because it's all pervasive.
Right.
Um, yeah.
An observation that's just come into my field as you're describing this kind of will I see it with my eyeballs is that we see in scriptures sometimes it's mentioned that the Lord can, taste with his fingers or, all these kinds of things. And it almost feels like as we talk about this, that the ability to kind of see or develop this rasa in our heart is like we're kind of gifted the ability to taste with our heart.
Oh,
Just an
nice.
observation, either way. Thank you so much.
Nice. That's a good one. Yeah. It's a different, yeah, because what is this actually seeing? What does it actually mean? It's more than just uh seeing as in vision. It's something else. It's experiencing. Seeing is experiencing. Oh, that is good. Taste with our heart. I love that. So to see is to forget, and to not see is to forget, and to see is to remember. Um, and basically what you just said, what you reminded me of, to taste with our heart, to remember is just to love. And then that's what takes the fear away. Like Min brought up Yamaraj, coming also to listen. It takes the fear away. Then we see, oh, it's just Ramaraj. Hey, how you doing? Uh, there's no fear. You're just like, hey, you're also a devotee of the Supreme Person. You also hang out with the absolute truth. And then everything changes. And this is the deepest, I find that, I mean, this is the deepest philosophy, and yet it's the most practical thing, because every day the anxieties, the worries, the fears, and however they manifest, we don't just have to be walking around thinking about the leaving of the body of ourselves and our loved ones. It's always. So that's why taking shelter is so important, because it's difficult out there. Um, okay, 801. Don't want to go past the greetings. Anyone else want to share something?
Temple room.
Tells us underneath
Okay.
everything, underneath everything, everybody loves everybody.
Thank you.
It's normal. We are loving beings, and it's awakened. And she was saying that Prabhupada came to remind us that we're not going to die. Well, that's nice, but reminding us that Krishna loves us, that's another level of awareness that really satisfies the heart. Because without love, the whole thing is kind of meaningless and dry. Without that, someone who loves you and you loving them back. So understanding that among ourselves and with Krishna is really cool. Okay, here comes Vasudev and the Supreme Personality of Godhead Radhamala.
Good. Good. Good.
Peter Bronx Christian Master. I only way to change your relationship. I bow down to the Lord's feet with great honor.
God's grace on the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My relationship, my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attached to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental love. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic flame emanates, and by him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. May your fame be spread all over the three worlds. We take shelter of your lotus feet. Jai.
Jai, welcome to the Afterglow. Lila Devi, does he have a few minutes?
Yes, I'm happy to hang out with you. Oh, Min.
Great.
I actually have a question. You said something that grabbed me, which is that we should have a report with Krishna, and that immediately made me go to a place where I don't usually think about my relationship with Krishna as it's like I have a report with Krishna. I usually think that way about my friends and my family, my partner, and I've been trying to figure this out, I think, without even maybe understanding it. When we hear God loves you, Krishna loves me, and I love God because I'm part of God. So but for that to sink in, for that to really be experienced, I have a feeling maybe we need to have this very intimate personal report with Krishna, which to me feels very difficult or hard, or maybe I don't know how to do it. Could you speak to that aspect of how do we come to Krishna so we could actually have this? Where do we start with that? This intimate report that we want to have with Krishna, and what does that look like?
Hmm. Yeah, thank you. Um, I'll tell you how I experience it and what gets me so excited and enthused about that relationship. It's an internal for sure. Um, it's custom made. It's the moment of realizing that anything and everything that happens to me in my internal world based on what's happening in the external world, so both, there's only one person that is fully understanding and experiencing it with me and really gets what it is that I'm going through. The joys, the griefs, the ups, the downs, the ego shattering situations, the beautiful elevating realizations. There's only one person that can understand that, and that's Krishna. Even our closest friends, we try to, try to share what's going on, what's alive in me, or how I'm experiencing being alive and being here. um, there's no one else that can understand it to that level. It's almost like, when you have a private joke with someone, and only you two get it. This is only Krishna gets the existence, and how I'm experiencing it. That's the only person, is my only buddy that really gets it deeply. And then not only that is with me, but is also I can turn to for protection. And that protection comes in the form of protect my mind, protect my emotions, protect my consciousness from this forgetfulness, from the bewilderment, from the going round and round and being confused and not understanding what's going on in the world. Um, and of course, then when the good things come around and we get to experience relationships with the devotees and experience some service or some purification or some realization, and all those wonderful things that I experience, then that comes from him too. So no matter what's coming, it's always him. And so this can be practiced in every single moment of every single day. And that's the communication, the rapport of like, just kind of being in conversation and dialogue about what's happening, because it's all happening right here, right now, in every moment, the uncomfortable moments in the day, the joyous moments in the day. Anyway, that's how I experience it, and that realization has helped me deepen. Um, what I understand to be my relationship with this person. And then he's kind of funny, he's got a dark sense of humor. Um yeah, just having that inside joke with him, you know. I wish I had a better way of saying that, maybe not a joke, but just that, oh, we get it. Did you just see that? Yeah, he just saw that because, he's the only one that just saw that. Kshetragya, the knower of all fields, and he knows me to my core. So anyway, thanks, Min. I hope that helped a little bit.
Yeah, thank you so much. It just made me question myself as you're speaking because it sounds so intimate, actually, the way you're um, communicating with Krishna. And it just dawned on me, and then it's going back to this, my sense of like, what's real is what I can see with my eyes only, oftentimes, and that this world and my existence and God's reality is so much deeper than that, and not really seeing that portion of reality, I think, is sort of the problem for me now. And just was thinking how every person in my life, everybody in my life, like person who, walks in front of me and says, "Hi, man," I ask them, "How are you? How's your day?" I, I don't ever do that with Krishna. I because it just hasn't settled in me that he's as real, or if not more real, that person who's standing in front of me in their physical body. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. There's two more hands up, but I want to say this that also it's quite humbling in a way that no matter how much we wish to see, want to see, it just comes when it comes. It comes when he understands that we're ready and we can't force it. And then one day just, oh, I can see, I understand. Um, So, sometimes for all the tense energy that we have around it about wanting to know, and all we can do is just want to see. Because, I can't see. I want to see. I want to chant. I want to chant. I want to serve because, I'm distracted and want to do all these other things except seeing, serving, and chanting. And so even the desire of saying, being honest with him as a friend, like, I don't really want to do this right now. I'd rather go and, yeah, whatever, jump around in the flowers or something. And just saying, I want to, though. I really do. And even that's okay. He'll even take that. And then one day he'll say, okay, looks like you really do actually want to see. And then everything just gets easier to see, to remember, to chant. Um, yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. Venu Madhuri.
Hare Krishna, Lila Devi Dasi.
Uh,
Thank you so much for your class. Can you hear me okay?
yeah, perfect.
Okay. Okay, great. Yeah. I just wanted to chime in on Min's question about, where do you start? Where do you start developing a rapport with Krishna? And I think, Min, if I'm hearing you, like what Lila Devi Dasi is obviously, quite advanced, is describing a real intimacy with Krishna based on a lack of formality and real friendship and real just palling around, which I know for me, like, still feels kind of far away. Maybe there are little flashes of it, but I think like a place that's been helpful to me to start too, because, when you're with a very powerful person, you don't always just start by palling around with them. Like you have to sort of approach with some respect, at least in my world. This may be wrong or colored, but I see my Gurudev is on the phone, and he says, I'm parroting what he says, that a great place to start is gratitude. It's sort of the love adjacent space. That if you're not quite at love, or you don't know how to express something to someone who is so awesome and powerful, that gratitude is a very natural place to start. And of course, we feel gratitude even just without Krishna, but it's linking it to Krishna and then using that as sort of a springboard, not just stopping there and saying, "Oh, thank you, my Lord, for the beauty of this day, and for the sun around me, and for all of the and just let it really penetrate into your heart, and see what comes of it, sort of like body surfing a little bit, if you've ever body surfed a wave a little bit. um so I just think that gratitude in that way is, I don't know, Gurudev, if you're on still, if you wanted to say anything, that's really been so helpful, your description of that as a love adjacent space to jump off from. Hare Krishna,
Hare
especially with
Krishna.
someone that you respect. Haribol.
Thank you. Thank you, Leela Devi, for your lovely class. I love the way you broke it down into the very real aspects of the. Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. And the very real aspects of, how the Lord covers us and how he uncovers himself. And he makes himself available depending on what we want, really. And he covers our eyes reluctantly. it's in his hand. We know it's his mercy that lets us see him. But his covering of our eyes is reluctant on his part. He's always in the business of, hey, look at me, here I am. I'm coming every single day to show myself to you. And he is. He's coming every day of Brahma. He comes. For us, it's many days, but for him, it's every day. Right? It's like a daily routine for him. It's a day of Brahma. So it's like he's constantly coming and showing himself to us. So showing himself is like he wants to do that. We're the ones who want to turn away. But I'm coming back to Min's question, which is really the heart of the whole process. It speaks to the spiritual practice that how can I just become close with Krishna? And many sincere devotees struggle with this at various stages. Feeling close to Krishna is not always instant or even emotional. It's a relationship that we gradually build, just like any real relationship. So, we can think of some, like, you asking, what are the practical ways? So there's a few practical ways where we can begin to build this. One is we pray to the Lord, but with honesty. You don't need to worry about being poetic or devotional sounding. Just speak to Krishna from the heart, even if you feel distant. Says, Krishna, I don't feel close to you. I want to. Like Lila, you're saying, I want to. I want to, but please help me take a step. So even that longing to desire relationship is a form of connection. He listens to the intentions more than eloquence. So that's important. And then 2, read about how others felt close to him. Ask other devotees, and especially read in the Bhagavatam, the Kunti Maharani, Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva, the gopis, Akrura, and they all reached intimacy with him in very different ways, in very different circumstances, from very different backgrounds. And ask, what kind of heart did they have? What would it feel like to love Krishna like that? Let their love awaken something in you. See, so that's the other one. Then, when you chant, make it personal. Yeah, so not just getting through the rounds, but say his names like you're calling to someone who cares about you. You can visualize him, and then you can offer it to the Lord. My Lord, this mantra is for you. That's the third one. Then I can think of. So the fourth thing is we offer our daily life to him, like we offer our meals. Krishna, this is for you, right? I made this japchae for you. Those who don't know japchae, you can ask Min. She makes an incredible one. Offer your work or study. Let this be pleasing to you. This is kind of like in the old Indian tradition where, they would have arranged marriages many years before the girl's even grown, but the girl doesn't go to the husband's house until she's truly grown up. But they train her to cook for the husband. And then, so by the time she moves into his house in adulthood, they've already have a relationship because, hey, this is for you, my dear. And then the husband will never look at anybody else again. The husband will take care of the girl. And so they're very long-lasting marriage. That's the system. So similarly, we can start, my Lord, this is for you. And then we can spend time where he's worshipped with love. The company of devotees, kirtans, festivals, simple service. And then the last thing is be patient but expectant. Patient meaning that, yes, this will take time. Some days will feel dry, others will feel sweet. But even in the dryness, he's watching and waiting and reciprocating. And we can expect miracles. Like Prabhupada said, just try to hear about Krishna. Then gradually Krishna will be pleased and he'll reveal himself to you. That's the whole point. So it takes a little patience, but we can fully expect miracles to happen. So those are some practical tips I can offer as a pathway to genuine intimacy and not something you just want to pretend on day one. And then you feel hollow because you're not feeling it. Hare Krishna.
Hey, Jai. Whoa, this is gold, guys. This is so good. Adi Purusha.
Yeah, Min always asks the great questions. We'll try to keep this very brief. Your desire is there, and Krishna will reciprocate. That's one thing. And it's possible. And like he said, you're invoking all of us to respond to the question, how do you start? You start by hearing. And then even like a mother, when she first has a baby, the relationship develops as the mother starts to care for the child. So we engage in service, it's very, very consoling to remember that not only are we working our way toward Krishna and desiring and taking steps, but on the other hand, Krishna is reaching out to us, coming from both directions. We're moving toward Krishna, and Krishna wants us to be close to him more than we could possibly want to be close to him. So thank you, Krishna. I'll let this go. We'll go to Prabhupada.
Jai, wonderful. This is really good stuff. Thank you so much for bringing those things up. What Venu Madhuri said also about gratitude. Oh, so many things, especially the devotees, being in association of the devotees that we can understand as a great mercy and the greatest mercy, but then also a response to our desire. And so what Venu Madhuri was saying about respect and honoring, that's also comes from it, practicing that respect and honor because wow, look at what you've given me and I'm humbled by it. Yeah, so beautiful. Thank you so much. This is so good.
Thank you, Lila Devidasi. We'd like to reluctantly finish this class by asking Sadhvi Didi to unmute herself and say Hare Krishna. Sadhvi Didi, please.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for today.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. That was perfect. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Shrimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All the devotees on this call and on YouTube, Ki Jai. Madan Gopal Prabhu, that was gold. Thank you very much. I'm going to re-listen and take notes. Where do you store all that knowledge, Madan Gopal Prabhu? Where? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.